Remember, there are no rules in cooking. Taste this. Hi, welcome to Taste This TV. I'm Chef Joe Simonera. We're here at a place in New York City called Tavola. And, well, if you ever wanted a little bit of Sicily real close to home, this is the place to visit. Let's check it out. Okay, great. So we're here at Tavola with Nick, the owner.
Buongiorno, chef.
Buongiorno, come stai?
Bene, bene.
And we have Giancarlo. We can't forget the chef. He's the guy that's going to feed us today. Piacere. How are you? So we're here at this incredible restaurant, which is really like a farm-to-table restaurant, simply,
Yes.
right?
The theory at Tavola behind our premise of cooking is based on wood-burning ovens that were made in Italy, and they're made out of volcanic clay from the Vesuvio volcano.
As you can see. And I guess why don't we talk a little bit about these ovens, because
Sure.
Here's something you don't see every day, right? Now,
Because they are the largest wood-burning ovens in New York, and but both combined weigh 7,000 pounds. So it's like having two cars on the floor. And these are my babies. So now you have Vesuvio and you have Etna. Ovens are usually named like ships and like boats, like the Mary Mac and the Mary Jane. In this case, my Vesuvio and my Etna. And what these ovens are, they're made from a family in Naples that specialize in oven making. And the domes are low, and one burns at 900, and one chamber is able to burn at 500 for two different types of food.
and that's something that people are actually going to see, is that these ovens don't just cook pizza, but you throw entrees in there like whole fishes and other kinds of meats.
Precisely.
In this temperature, right?
Precisely, and vegetables, which we're about to demonstrate the two different chambers and how the two different cooking processes actually come about in this restaurant. So it's not just a pizzeria. It's also, it's predicated on farmhouse cooking. We import our own olive oil from Sicily. It's pure nocellara olive oil from the Castelvetrano olive. And that based, and as well as fresh herbs, is the philosophy behind how we cook. And we basically shop market fresh food as often as we can.
So what are we doing today?
Okay, today I
want
want to dispel a few different mysteries at home with home cooks as to certain things that are intimidating. For instance, the artichoke. What do you do with an artichoke a lot of times? And we want to demonstrate real quick how we do our oven roasted artichoke. So this is what they look like when we're done. And I'm going to show you a quick demonstration. John, if you can actually help me here. So you peel back the outer shells that are tougher until you get to the tender part.
Right.
And then basically what you do is you cut off the top, and you can split it down the middle. When they're small, when the artichokes are small, you don't have to actually take out what's called the choke, this part here, because they're tender and they're small. This is a baby artichoke.
Right.
A larger artichoke, you want to spoon out the choke. In this case,
And you can feel it's not that fibrous like a large one would be, where you're like, you know what I mean?
So we don't have to go through all that. So for these artichokes alla romana, we're going to do a quick pesto of fresh herbs with a little bit of anchovy, a little bit of garlic. So here we have...
And this, we have our mortar pestle, right?
Yes, and this came from Genova.
Now, this is interesting. This is wood and actually not ceramic.
That's correct. This is a true Genovese
This is a
mortar.
true one. You don't see this much.
I bought this from Genova myself. And what it does is, instead of using a food processor, this actually extracts the oils from the herbs without macerating them, without destroying the actual herbs. So,
and you do this here. I mean, being a large restaurant, which is so busy, you take the time to do this.
That's what we do. We stay close to tradition as much as we can. So in this case, we put just one clove of garlic, some fresh parsley, some mint. We have some mint, and we have some parsley, a little bit of basil.
Nice.
And what we do is basically a little bit of Sicilian sea salt, of course. You know, I'm a little partial to it because I'm Sicilian myself. A little bit of black pepper. And in this case...
salt mines in Sicily as well.
Yes, in Trapani,
nice.
right. The salt flats of Trapani are famous. And it's just a very popular. Fennel seeds. This is something that we use a lot in this particular restaurant.
And some people shy against fennel seeds, right? People say, I want them out of the sausage. But I find that they're a different taste if they go in here.
Yes.
They're not as...
Yes, and by smashing them, too, or putting them through a coffee grinder, you'll find that they won't get stuck in your teeth, like Joe was saying, which most people don't like that aspect of it. So extracting the oils from the herb, as opposed to putting them through a food processor, which could be quicker, but this gives you a much better effect.
Yeah, I feel like you probably retain a lot of the flavor, too, because that food processor works on centrifugal, really high speed.
Right. And
it sort of heats it up.
Exactly,
yeah,
bravo.
Not,
and you don't want heat because it affects the texture of the food. I like to use some Sicilian anchovy, just a little bit. You shouldn't have to taste anchovy. Most people don't like anchovy, but if you taste it, you did something wrong. That means you put too much. But a little bit of anchovy in here kind of opens it up. Good Sicilian olive oil. Just kind of like, can I get a spoon, please?
And you would say that this is cold pressed.
This is extra virgin, cold pressed, single varietal Sicilian olive oil from the Castelvetrano olive. So this is a specific olive from a specific region, only from the Valley of Belice, because there's certain different olives in Sicily, but this is only from Belice.
Now look how that's coming together. That's really nice right there.
That's beautiful. It's like
Very nice.
If you can smell it, it's so fragrant and open, but with the anchovy and all the fresh herbs. Sorry.
No, I was about to lick it, but then I said, that's TV. I don't want to.
Okay. So, ecco, bravo. So, okay. So in this case, we have artichokes, and you don't really want to put much. You just want to give it because it's very strong.
Yeah, you got that whole garlic in there.
You got the whole garlic
as
as well.
flavor.
And
Nice.
you really want to really taste the artichoke. You don't want to like overpower the artichoke with too much pesto. But what this does is it really wakes up the artichoke. In this case, so we do a little bit of olive oil over all of them. Bravo. Ecco. Some breadcrumb that's been mixed with some Romano cheese, breadcrumb, and parsley, all mixed together. Alrighty.
Wow, the smell is incredible. And it starts off smelling like that. It always going to come out even better when it's cooked.
Yeah. Again, so then we put this in the lower temperature oven in this case.
Right. This is about what, 500?
About 500. It's going in the wood oven. Now we're going to do a Bronzino real quick. John, can you help me start doing that? Giancarlo is going to be showing you how we do a Bronzino. I'm going to start on the pizzas. I'm going to start showing you how we make some pizzas here, and also how that works out there.
Now, talking about some of these ingredients that you have here, sort of reminds me of visiting the old country because the color and the texture looks as if you had it imported from Europe. What's the secret, especially with let's talk about this cheese that most people probably do not have here.
Well, this is a fior di latte mozzarella, and it's made by the company called Liuzzi in Connecticut. I find it to be the best mozzarella for a wood-burning oven pie in this case, and it has the right amount of fat content and color.
Nice. And these go on top of your pizzas.
This goes on top of the pizzas, which I'm about to show you in just a few minutes. We have two pizzas coming out for you today. One is going to be made with wild boar veal meatballs,
Very good.
roasted peppers that we roasted in a wood-burning oven, sharp provolone, mozzarella, tomato, and basil. That's one pie. Then we have another pie called the Amalfi. The Amalfi is thinly sliced lemon, blue claw crab meat, parsley, olive oil, some Gruyere cheese, and it's a white pie. And it's a different take on a pie that you normally wouldn't see in most places. This is a fennel, as obviously most of you would know. This is something that we also use here. We usually serve it with our whole roasted fish. In this case, it happens to be Bronzino. It's an Italian sea bass, and we're going to be using some fennel. So we're about to show you how to cut and prepare the fennel for those of you that are not familiar with it. So
Now,
basically,
but you roast this whole.
we roast it whole, yes.
And something that people could see just to make sure that the fish is fresh, which this is very fresh, clean gills, the eyes are clear, really nice looking fish. And this is about the size they always come out.
That's about right. And like you said, Joe, what's important is that the eyes are clear and shiny. They're not opaque and sunken in. That's a sign of a really fresh fish. And also, when you press the fish and you let go, it should come up again. If it leaves an indentation, that means the fish
Been
is
hanging
fast.
around a little bit.
People don't know, so how do I know if the fish is fresh? Touch it. Touch a fish, press it down, see if it snaps
Look at
back.
the inside of the fish, the
Exactly.
cavity, nice and fresh, not slimy.
Right. We're going to be preparing the fennel. Basically, you want to just cut the fronds off like this, remove these. Although these you could use for different parts of cooking, but for now we're not.
Okay.
And in this case, we just like to cut it down the middle. I like to take out the outer layer because it's a little bit tougher.
Right.
And maybe not as...
This really has a unique, excellent flavor. You know, a lot of people, I think, are a little scared to experiment with it. But really, in soups, anything braised, baked, you can't go wrong with it.
It goes well with almost so many things, especially fish. And like Joe said, too, it really wakes up a lot of different things. And it's starting to catch on. I mean, it's very popular in Sicilian cuisine in particular. I think it was an introduction from the Arabs, if I had to say.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of Arab influence.
A lot of Arab influence in the island, exactly.
Now, you smell the fennel here, and it smells like black licorice. And
right.
the thing about it is when you cook it, it doesn't taste like licorice, right?
No. So in this case with the Bronzino, what we're going to do is we're just going to give a dousing of olive oil inside the stomach as well.
Good quality olive oil. Look at that.
Yeah, it's nice and green.
Nice color.
You want to salt it well. Some black pepper. Okay. And what I like to do is I like to lay the fennel in the same pan. By the time the fish cooks, the fennel will be ready. On the crisp side, al dente, because Italians like to have their vegetables not too soft and not too hard. Al dente meaning to the tooth, meaning that when you're eating it, you could feel it on your teeth. I like to put a little bit of my pesto It kind of goes well with fish as well.
And one thing Nick does do, and he's seasoning the inside of the cavity as well. It's not just the outside of the fish, it's inside.
Right, and Joe makes a very good point, because what happens is when you're seasoning the cavity on the inside, it'll actually permeate as it's cooking because it starts to steam. In this case, on the cavity, I like to put a little bit of a few lemon slices. Again, it'll open up. Just bust them open like that.
A lot of people might think there's a lot of bones in there, but if it's filleted right, you're not going to get any.
And once you get used to it, it's not so difficult to eat.
It really is a clean fish. Excellent. Now, at the same time, those artichokes should be just about done, right,
That's
Nick?
correct, yes.
Giancarlo, per favor. What do you got over there, the stick? ¿Cómo se dice? What do you call this? This is the stick.
Ah, it's a peel, actually. It's referred to as a
Peel.
peel.
Could be to keep the employees in line, maybe.
Well.
You know, Saturday night.
We can't say that on the air, but anyway.
Hey, go ahead. Am I in your way? Perfect. Wow, that looks beautiful. Look at that. Wow, very nice.
And as you can see now, the caramelization on the artichoke, the olive oil and the breadcrumbs come together to give a crisp finish. And the artichokes, because they're small, are pretty much, again, al dente, not too soft, and not too hard. So the fish, we could put it in now.
Very nice.
That way we start making our pizzas. Yeah.
Artichokes look fabulous.
Eccola.
And our fish goes in.
Excellent.
What's next?
Pizza. Le pizza.
Pizza.
Le
You
pizza
want a
Napoletano.
dough? You want me to get you a dough?
Yes, sure, Joe. Please help me out. So there's also the roasting of local olives are very popular in farmhouse cooking in Italy. In this case, it's Sicilian nocellara olive. It's the same olive that the oil is made out of. If you notice, the olive has a character where it's not oval. It's actually round and squat with a peppery taste to the back of the throat. And it's usually baked with some olive oil, some fresh herbs. In this case, I like a little bit more fennel myself, maybe another little pinch of salt, right in the wood-burning oven. The wood permeates the flavor onto the olive and giving it a certain caramelization and texture as well.
And the flavor is not like you would think. Very vinegary, very acidic.
No.
It's more neutral flavor with the taste of the olive oil.
Precisely. It's
And
not
the herbs.
Right, exactly. Now, next is the pizzas, which we're known for here. So this is a dough that rises for 24 hours in the true Neapolitan style. So we're about to make what's called a pizza Napoletana, the classic.
Okay. Smack is a must, right?
Oh, we got to smack it, you know?
Now, Nick, you started off in the pizzeria.
Yes, I've been making pizza since I was 15, and that's a few years ago now.
Right.
So,
What, about 5 years ago or so?
Oh, well, a little bit more than that, but anyway. And
You would say you like a thin crust.
yes, it's thin. You can almost see through it, but not quite. You want to get it even. We're about to make the first pizza, which is with wild boar veal meatballs,
Wild boar veal.
wood-burning oven, roasted red peppers that we roast here, provolone, mozzarella, Parmesan tomato, fresh basil, and here we go. We don't want to put too much sauce in the center, otherwise the pie gets soggy. First, a little bit of Parmigiano to wake up the tomato, the liuzzi mozzarella.
And that mozzarella is serious.
Ah, it's beautiful. And here we have our wild boar veal mix. Very small pieces, and if we put them small enough, they'll cook evenly. If the pieces are too big and that rapid of a cooking, it'll still stay raw. So we want to make sure.
Where do you get this? Do you grind this yourself?
No, we actually get it from Esposito's Meat Market on the corner. One last thing, sharp provolone. It kind of wakes up. It complements the pepper really well. Some fresh basil. Giancarlo, per favore, facciamo una forno.
There you go. I like it. No flour board, nothing. No, right in.
And the true Neapolitan style. So we're about to make the second pizza, which is going to be lemon, blue claw crab meat. Actually, let me get this one, it's a little wetter. Blue claw crab meat, fresh herbs, no tomato sauce in this case. It's inspired by a recipe from the Amalfi Coast. It's called l'Amalfitana, inspired by the Amalfi Coast in Naples. It's thinly sliced lemon, blue claw crab meat, fresh herbs and olive oil, a little bit of Gruyere cheese, and a touch of herb pesto. So here we go, stretching our dough.
It's got a nice elasticity to it.
Yep, because, you know, it rises for 24 hours, so this dough is very rested. So when you eat this pie, it won't make you feel like your stomach is actually full and heavy.
Now, what do we have here?
This is soppressata, So passata from Esposito's meat market, and we use it for a pizza called La Calabresa Bona, because in Calabria, soppressata is made with red pepper in that region of Italy. So we call it La Calabresa, which is also a very big seller.
Nice and red throughout. You know, it's not just a spotty red flake here or there.
So here's our blue claw crab meat, and we're going to season the crab meat, in this case, with Italian flat leaf parsley. Then we're going to quickly give it a quick chop.
Now, would this be called a gremolata if you added a little garlic in there, maybe?
You might call it gremolata. You might call it gremolata as well. In this case, it's just a quick marinade. We don't want to marinate it too long because what happens is it'll cook the fish. If there's an acid involved, it'll become a ceviche. We don't want that.
Exactly.
We just want to flavor it. In this case, it's very close to the time that we're going to be using it. Okay? Okay. So in this case...
There's that cheese again.
Right. No, in this case, no tomatoes in this pie. It's just some cheeses. In this case, we put some Gruyere cheese, which is a little bit different in this case. Our marinated crab meat. This lump blue claw crab. Again, the lemon slices, as you can see, are very thin. They have to be thin in order for them to cook. I like to put a little bit of breadcrumb. Again, that's that Sicilian influence. Always olive oil for the moisture.
Giancarlo's got it down pat. I'm waiting for like a... He's got it right down. How many of those do you think he makes? Wow, look at that.
Ecco. Che bello.
Wow, very nice.
And when you're noticing on a pie, a true Neapolitan pie has spots, and this is called leoparding. This is important. When you see these spots, that means the sugars in the dough are actually ready as they should be. So the heat and the dough itself in its prime state creates these spots, which is called leopardings. That's what you want. The bottom is nice and crispy.
Very nice.
And we're about to taste that in a moment. In Italy, pizzas are not cut. But in America, they insist on having them cut, so we cut them in 6.
So we grab that whole thing and just start eating it?
They actually use a knife and a fork in Italy. Always eat a pizza.
Right.
It's not an American thing. I like to have it in smaller pieces myself.
You know what really surprises me is that pizzas maybe that size, maybe a little bit bigger in Italy, and people eat like 2 of them, right?
Well, the dough is lighter, again, because the gases are gone, because this dough rises for 24 hours. So it's not a heavy, yeasty dough. In that sense.
I could eat. I sat down at a table with some fellow Italians over there, and we've had toothpicks. They blow me away eating 2 of those, and then they want to go to the cornetti, which is the croissant shop with chocolates. Then they're eating 3 of those. I mean, then they just keep eating and eating and eating. Yeah. And I'm a big eater. I couldn't hang.
They have a passion for food, obviously, yes. Yes. So this is the second pizza, La Malfitana.
Quick? That was like, what, 4 minutes, maybe?
Well, actually, the pizzas take 90 seconds, so it's a minute and a half. A true Neapolitan pizza should not take more than 90 seconds, 2 minutes max. Anything more, that means your ovens are too cold. You're doing something wrong.
Let's say 900 degrees.
Yeah, but it's very tricky. You have to make sure that pizza actually comes out. Ecco la Malfitana.
Look at that. Now that's a pizza.
Again, beautiful leoparding spots. You have crispy. You can actually hear the crack and the crisp in the pie.
Wow.
Wow,
that's good.
A little bit more olive oil because you never have enough olive oil.
Never have enough of that stuff.
Ecco bello. So we're going to split this, and this will be for the camera crew later because I'm sure they're going to be hungry.
Exactly.
We're going to get a palla.
Now we got our fish. How's our fish doing?
I think our Bronzino might be ready for a visit. Already, it's starting to show signs of caramelization.
Yep.
As you can see. Now, the great thing about these ovens is that you actually get a crisp caramelization on the outside and moisture on the inside, which is unusual. So the fish is actually very moist and tender on the inside and actually creates a crisp outer shell.
Nice.
Because of the dryness of the brick and the clay in the oven. I think it needs a little bit more time, however, to finish it off.
And those olives just sort of kind of sit there till they're...
Yes, exactly, Joe. It's a very slow cook on the olive, but already they're starting to show signs of browning and caramelization. And although they could use a little bit more time, I think, before we take them out. I think maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit more pesto.
Yeah, that pesto
we
can
never
be used
really
for
have
a variety of different things.
For that.
I love pesto. Just sun-dried tomato pesto.
Yes, sure. Right, exactly, Joe. There's so many different types of pesto. There's a classic Genovese basil pesto, but you can make pesto from a lot of different herbs as well.
Well, we got 2 incredible pizzas, that we're going to feast on later. We got our artichokes, got our olives. How's our Bronzino?
Bronzino should be ready. We should be about to take it out right now.
There you go. Now that's nice.
Now it's ready to roll. It's blistering. It's crispy.
That's a nice looking fish. Look at that fennel.
It's
Nice.
Just what we want.
Beautiful.
Just what we want in that case of that particular pie, that particular dish.
We got our olives here. Great accompaniment. You need the thingamajig?
I got it over here. Our olives are ready as well.
Nice. All right, let's try some fish.
Finally.
Let's see how the secret of this. It's got to be.
Here we go. I'm gonna serve my friend Joe.
Now, you do a lot of tableside here at all?
No, we don't. Actually, when we do this fish, we advise our customers that we don't fillet. We don't fillet our whole fish, so you have to be prepared. In this case, we'll do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not that hard.
Not that hard.
Once you see it done once, you basically want to remove the outer spines, and then just basically bust it at the head here, and then it
should come right off. Yeah.
It should release, exactly. See, I like the skin. The skin is where a lot of the flavor is, and a lot of the omega fatty acids are as well. So, if I can.
Very nice. Wow, that's cooked perfectly.
Tavala.
And you like the skin. I like the skin, too.
You like it too?
Yeah.
I do. It has a lot of the flavor. I'll forgive it, maybe.
There you go.
Now, I
have
like to finish a little bit of lemon, but also a little bit of olive oil as a finishing in its raw state. It actually usually kind of wakes up and brings up the fish as well. Eccola. A little bit for me.
Giancarlo, you eating?
Un po' di pesce, già. Un piatto.
Let's go, baby. Sharing the fruits of the labor.
We taste the result.
Che bello, eh?
Yeah.
It's beautiful fishing.
Yeah, it's really nice. Look how flaky and very nice.
Probably one of the most celebrated fish in Italian restaurants for its texture. And just such a fine fish, really. Bello.
Wow. Very good. Very good, my friend. Flaky. Great texture.
Some oven roasted olives as well.
Very good. Compliments the fish, very good.
Thank you, Joe. Coming from you, that means a lot.
Excellent, excellent. I was really impressed. Okay, so we're here on 9th Avenue at Tavola. Nick, thank you so much for having me down
Thank you,
here.
Joe.
It was an absolute pleasure.
We're an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
Great job,
Thanks.
great job.
Thank you, bye.
Well, that's going to end it for this segment of Taste This TV. I'm your host, Chef Joe Ciminero. Remember, there are no rules in cooking. Taste this.